Good morning, Scribe.
Good morning, Patty. Lovely to be here.
Yeah,
Looking
thank
forward to
you.
your questions.
So, how do we start? I'd say for the people who may not know you, um, you are an author.
I am, yes.
Yes. The Dark Side Trilogy, Food Chain, and you are pretty active on Twitter.
Indeed.
Um, but you also are in the BDSM lifestyle
Yes, I am, yes.
for probably more years than I have lived.
Yes, it's around 25 years.
Ah, okay, so not all the years I lived, but
Long enough.
yes. So you know stuff.
I know a little, yes. Yes, you pick things up over the years.
And I will ask you a lot of questions about it.
Fire away, Patty, fire away.
Okay, first topic I would like to know what you think are the big influences the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing had on the lifestyle.
Ooh, one of my favourite subjects. First of all, 50 Shades, I would take my hat off to Miss James for having a superb marketing organisation behind her, for capturing a moment. She produced a work that the world was waiting for. They'd gone through the Mills and Boon and Hallmark stage of bodice rippers, and it wasn't even edgy romance. And she came out with something completely different that caught the imagination of a whole generation of women, ostensibly between the ages, I would guess, of 25 to 45, probably older, and gave them something else to think about. From my point of view, and there's no jealousy involved in this, of course, as an author, and as somebody in the lifestyle, it wasn't really relevant to my world. But with her organisation and everything, she sold an awful lot of books. She raised awareness of the lifestyle. She's made an awful lot of money, and I hate her and hope her hair falls out. But apart from that, it did raise awareness. It is a double-edged sword. It has good points and it has bad points. The good points are that it has made people aware that there is an alternative way of looking at sexuality, that it is not all whips and chains, and though they are involved, it's not all about the darker side of sexuality. It's not all about pain. It's not all about punishment. It gives you alternatives. It gives you avenues to explore. And I've always maintained that the lifestyle is 80% mental stimulation and 20% physical stimulation. Without the mind, you cannot truly experience it. And of course, if the mind is fully engaged, then the rest of the person follows quite willingly. So it has given specifically women, but a fair few men, a different view on how they can explore their sexuality. There are an awful lot of women out there that have not exactly submissive tendencies, but they have a desire, or they have had dreams and fantasies of being under the power and influence of a dominant male, for the purposes of sex. So it kind of opened our eyes that this is possible in a safe, sane and consensual environment, and that's important. Those three words, safe, sane and consensual, are important. So it has brought from my point of view, as a lifestyle dominant, it has brought women into the arena, into my world, that wish to explore that. And as dominants are inherently predators, regardless of what they try to tell you, all dominants are predators. They are looking for somebody that needs their talents, their abilities, their skills to become what they wish, and obviously feed the desires and needs of the dominant. So it has had a positive effect. The negative effect is that it has also generated an unrealistic expectation of what people will encounter. Hearts and flowers are involved. A DS, a dominant sub relationship, gets very deep, it gets very intense, and it can become all-consuming. Obviously feelings, emotions, all those things are involved. But putting it into a romantic setting can be misleading. And unfortunately, a lot of women have found when they've come in to the lifestyle on the back of 50 Shades and other books, that's not the only one that has brought people into the life. They've left themselves vulnerable. They have left themselves open to abuse in their eagerness and their desire to experience these things. They haven't taken the time to actually ascertain whether the person that they're offering themselves to really knows what they're doing. And that is because an awful lot of men, specifically, have seen the interest that these books have generated in the lives, in women. The desires that these women are now expressing on places like Twitter, Facebook, and various other places. And they think, that looks like easy pickings. So I will create a profile, call myself a dominant, so, I'm Mr. Nasty Dom, or I'm Mr. Loving, caring, but our spanky bum dom. And then they wait to see who takes the bait. Over the last year, probably 8 months, I have heard, and I have been told, and face to face and through various media, of the problems that has caused. Some of the horrific incidents that these women have endured because of their eagerness to experience the things that they believe are possible. And the safety aspect has suffered a little bit because, as I said, the keenness and the desires that you ladies have and express quite openly, which of course you are very free to do, means that they have been spotted by these predators and preyed upon. And because people don't understand the mental aspect of a DS relationship, it is not something that they've explored. They've just looked at the physical attributes that it can bring, the sexual highs, the pleasure. They've forgotten that it actually gets into your head. And when somebody has taken on the role of dominant, and they've taken a girl, a woman, a lady as their submissive slave, toy, baby girl, whatever it is, that's the role that they take, it becomes a very, very deep thing. And if the dominant doesn't really know what he's doing, or is not interested in the mental aspect and understanding the impact they can have, they're only in it for the pleasure and the quick fix kinky sex. It causes untold damage. And the biggest regret that I have is when you talk to ladies that are extremely serious in exploring that side of their sexuality, they tell you these horror stories of meeting somebody online who's called himself Mr. Master, Sir, Big Bad Dominant, and has arranged a meeting, and they've gone to meet him, and he just, they're playing the safe, sane, consensual part by meeting in a public area and having a cup of coffee. But oh, by the way, I'm booked into the motel round the corner.
Okay.
So it has had two effects, some good, some bad. I am hoping that as things pan out, as women become more aware that there are the predators out there, and it is not anybody who calls himself a dom is not necessarily a dom, that the worst impacts of the current, the current literary style will lessen, and it will make the lifestyle more accessible to people. It will become a topic that people are more open to discuss, and it won't be seen as a dirty secret. And then we can all benefit and enjoy things from that.
So, in short, the positive aspects are it's more open and more people have the opportunity to live the side of them. And the negative, women especially are too careless and
Yes.
get themselves into trouble.
Yes.
Okay.
We've approached the point initially when it first came out of the analogy is, a child in a candy store. It were all these things were suddenly open and available. The thought of being dominated, of being tied, of being, sexually pleasured while under restraint and helpless, and the fantasy suddenly became a reality, a possibility. There were people out there that could, enable women to feel those things. Unfortunately, there are also people out there that weren't interested in anything else other than a conquest. And that is the main problem. And people in the lifestyle can deal with that. Unfortunately, with the influx of people coming in, the numbers have increased. If I hark back to the old days, and forgive me for doing that, but it's a necessary story. In the very beginning, when the lifestyle was more underground and it was smaller, the community was smaller, women and men, submissives, had almost like their own little network. I always used to call it the subby sisterhood, where women would talk to each other via chat rooms, via email when they got to know each other, and on the phones and everything else, because the internet wasn't such an active place at those times. So they took care of each other, and they would warn each other, because it was such a small community, that these people were out there. If one of them experienced an encounter with a so-called dominant, and they found out that these people were not genuine, then word would go out. They would warn their sisters and brothers, submissive, and say, look, watch out for this. And because people hadn't got into the habit of creating multiple profiles, which they have done today, so when one fails, they close that down and they reopen as something else. Very, very soon, these predators had nowhere to go, because everybody knew them. They were aware of their profile, they were aware of their methods, they were aware of their approaches, how they worked, the things that they said. They couldn't hide that, not from everybody. There would be somebody that would always pick up their style, their methodology, their approach, and the sisterhood would know about it. Now, of course, with the massive influx of people coming in, that sisterhood is now fragmented. It exists within small areas of the community, on certain chat sites that are dedicated to the lifestyle, where women, girls, boys, men, they all get to know each other, and they get to know each other personally. So word gets out that way. But in the greater scheme of things, when you have the influence of places like Twitter and Facebook and all these other social media sites, that has become so fragmented that there are no warning signals that are picked up. There are no obvious signs. And the only way that these people, the predators and the charlatans and the wannabes and everybody else are picked up is when something bad happens and somebody shouts about it all over Twitter. But of course there's the embarrassment factor. They are embarrassed that they have put themselves into that position. They are embarrassed that they've been used and abused, and they fell for chatter blinds, they fell for a perception, they fell for, whatever it was that drew them towards this person. So that's more difficult. Within the lifestyle, that embarrassment is removed because everybody knows why you're there. You're kinky bastards and you're out there to enjoy yourself. That's what you're there for. So, people can shrug and go, I had a bad experience, I was an idiot, but this is what I did and everybody needs to know about it. In the public forum, places, these social media platforms, it is very difficult for somebody to put their hands up and say, I've been a bit of a twat and this guy has taken me for a ride and I bought it all. But girls, you need to be aware. I need to tell you about who this man is. That is a lot harder for them to do, and that needs to change. But the only way that can change is for people to become more aware and more open and talk about their experiences amongst their friends and warn them. Word will get out eventually, but it's going to take a lot longer.
So I picture the fact that it's now so big and there are so many different platforms and sites and I don't know, Color Me and what else there is.
Yes, FetLife and
Yes.
Alt, Color Me. One of the better sites was Informed Consent, but that has now gone for various reasons. But there are dedicated sites where women that are looking to explore, they can find local like-minded individuals, other women that are also at that point of exploring, and they can do it safely. They can do it through local meets, as they call them, munches within the lifestyle, which are local gatherings of like-minded souls, and they are completely vanilla in their approach. There's no kink, there's no play, there shouldn't be, no toys being wielded around, unless somebody's got something really exciting to show other people. So they can start exploring in a far safer environment than meeting people across a social media platform like Twitter and believing everything that they tell them, at least at these local events and munches, and they will find that the lifestyle people are very welcoming, very understanding. There will be no pressures on them to be a submissive, to be, to perform in any shape or form. It is just a social, and it gives them a safe platform on which to start exploring those desires, those shadows that they've had, all those secret little feelings that they've put to one side. That the current spate of books have captured their imagination. And they've said, I wonder if I could. I wonder if that's me. I wonder if I could feel those things. That is the place to start. And my advice would be to anyone out there is look at these sites. You have to be brave to go in and register. Yes, it's a strange world. Yes, you're going to get people hit on you straight away because they spot on you and they're going to send you messages and all the rest of that. But cut through all the bullshit. Cut through all the rest of that. Look at local events. Look at what people around you are meeting, the munches. Look at the profiles of the people that are actually going to them. See who they are. Most of them will have pictures. Most of them will tell you a little bit about them because they are open within the lifestyle. Get in touch. Talk to them. talk to like-minded women that are local to you and say, look, I'm new, I want to explore this. Can I come and sit in and see who you all are? They will meet and greet. Somebody will may even turn around and say, yeah, meet me up at so-and-so, and I'll take you. There are safe ways of doing it. And for God's sake, don't go jumping at the first man who tells you that he's, big, bad, dark master. Don't. Please don't. Because all that's going to do is get your bum smacked. You can have a night of sex in a hotel, and then you're going to feel extremely seedy in the morning. Don't do it.
Okay, we are over the 20-minute mark. I think that was a good statement to end.
Okay, it's been lovely talking with you, Patty. I look forward to answering any other questions. And if there's anybody out there that wants to hear something or wants to hear my opinion, and they are only my opinions, if they're different from yours, then I'll defend to the death your right to have them, but please spare me your righteous indignation. Well, thank you for talking with me, Patty.
Thank you for answering.
My pleasure.